Welcome to this video. In this video we'll be looking at electric terminology, and in this particular video we'll be examining current. Let's consider the following circuit. We know that a cell is represented by one large plate and one small plate. A battery is a combination of cells joined together. A resistor is represented by the zigzag pattern, and of course wires join this whole circuit together. To examine current, we'll need to examine the polarity of this circuit. The large terminals are positive, small terminals are negative. Current flows in the external circuit from positive back to the negative. And the best analogy I can use for current is to consider a water pipe that has water flowing through it from top to bottom. If we wanted to describe the rate at which water flowed through this pipe, we might say it flows at 10 litres per second. Or maybe 5 mils per second. This is a rate. And in water terminology, we often refer to that as a current. A river with high current has a large volume of water per second flowing, whereas a river with a low current has a smaller number of litres per second flowing. So a key word for current is rate. So let's now look at a definition. So 1 amp is defined as 1 coulomb of charge per second. Back to our circuit. If I were to examine this one point, watching it with my eye, and effectively timing the amount of charge that went past that point every second, that's what a current represents. The current is effectively the number of coulombs of charge going past a point per second. Let's clarify our terminology. So our current has a symbol I and it's measured in amps. Our charge has a symbol Q and it's measured in coulombs. And time has a symbol T and it's measured in seconds. These are the 3 variables that are all involved with the definition of the current. This can be expressed mathematically with the following equation. Where 1 amp is equal to 1 coulomb per second. Alternatively, this can be expressed using the following physics triangle, where Q represents the charge in coulombs, I represents the current in amps, and T represents the time in seconds. As always, if Q is the unknown, you cover it, Q equals I times T. If I is the unknown, you cover it, and I equals Q over T. And finally, if T is the unknown, you cover it, and it is equal to Q over I. Let's now consider 3 separate examples using the QIT triangle. Example number 1 states that a current of 2 amps flows through a circuit. How many coulombs of charge pass a point in 50 seconds? So first of all, let's write down the variables. Q is a symbol for charge, and we're asked to calculate the charge. I is a symbol for current, and we're told in the question that the current is 2 amps. And finally, T is the symbol for time, and it's stated in this question that time was 50 seconds. Let's look at our physics triangle to solve this problem. If we want Q, we cover the symbol Q up, and we're left with, on the bottom, I times T. So here's our equation. Now, let's substitute these variables into the equation, where I is the current in 2 amps, and T is the time of 50 seconds. So, in example question number 1, the unknown charge will be 100 coulombs. Example number 2 states that what current is measured in a circuit if 20 coulombs of charge passes along a point in a circuit every 4 seconds? So again, let's write down our variables. We're asked to solve for the current, which is the symbol I. The question states that there's 20 coulombs of charge and Q is a symbol for charge. Finally, the question states that 4 seconds of time has passed. So we look at our physics triangle and we're after I. We cover up I equals Q over T. They're the remaining two variables. We now take our variables, Q and T, and we substitute them into the equation to calculate our unknown I. So the answer for question 2 is 5 amps. Example number 3. How long will it take for a current of 5 amps to move 40 coulombs of charge past a point in a circuit? So for this problem, it's the time that's the question. The current is stated as 5 amps, so I equals 5 amps. And finally, it says in the question, there is 40 coulombs of charge, so Q is a symbol for charge. So we write Q equals 40 coulombs. T is our unknown. Let's go back to our physics triangle. I cover the unknown T and I'm left with Q over I. So I have our equation and I have our variables. Now let's substitute our numbers into this equation to solve for the unknown T. So the answer for question 3 is a time of 8 seconds.
You've been watching a Juddy Productions video. If you've enjoyed and indeed learnt something from this video, then please remember to like, share, comment and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.